do we need people?
You're a fucking slave in your mind.
Do we need slaves though? Because obviously we need people to work and do those jobs that obviously the free people can't do.
And this is the full circle realization when you get to the point where, as frustrating as it was, you need this slave class of people who buy bullshit so that I don't have to do bullshit stuff, which is great. But usually the bullshit people can't tell me what to do. It's only during COVID they were allowed, and now that's all over. They can't tell me what to do anymore, so it's fine. But if you're and not everybody's mind can be free, because in society it would break down. But of course, some people's minds are designed for freedom and some people's aren't. But it's amazing when you're talking to the slave mind, trying to get through to them. And it played out even in my cancellation. There are people who would sit and get furiously angry about the subject of me saying I'm a bad person. And when you ask them one bad thing I've said, they don't know. How could you be angry about something and you don't even know why? It's all clown world. It's absolute clown world. It's slave mind, and the slave mind is actually a dangerous thing. When I'm combating it, people think I'm combating it just for fun. No, the most heinous crimes in the history of humanity have been conducted by people who blindly obey governments. Blindly. If you're going to sit there and be a dummy and blindly comply and be told to hate a certain race or hate a certain person or do a certain thing without thinking, that's how World War II happens. All these people who sit and say, I'm a good person and you're bad because I have my mask and I have my boosters and you're bad. No, I think, you don't. You're the bad people. History is full of people like you who don't fucking think, who do as they're told. And you're the ones who end up fucking murdering people, not people like me. Everyone likes to believe they would have resisted the Nazis. They're the ones who would have not done it. But then they're fucking told to mask up and bend over for the fucking dildo and they take it. It's garbage. Clown world. I think their goal is to soften everybody's brains and to delete one side of the argument. This is why I talk about the Matrix. People say, why do you talk about the Matrix all the time? And I say there are people who are living right now in a computer-generated reality. If you believe everything you're watching on the news, you are believing a complete false version of reality. And the idea of that reality is to keep your brain occupied enough so that you'll continue to do a shit job for shit wages and pay your taxes until you die. That's exactly that's the plot of the Matrix movie. They are abusing your body and controlling your mind so that your body will sit there and do what they need it to do until you're no longer useful anymore. And that's exactly what's happening. And another question I get is people ask me why I'm so interested in this fight against the Matrix. And I try and explain to people that I believe this fight cannot be avoided. I think you're either combating the Matrix and fighting against the garbage they're telling you, or you're believing it. And if you believe it, then you end up fighting against yourself. You end up fighting against your own mind. You can't avoid the battle. If you're a full-grown man and you believe everything that's on the news, you're going to end up fucking semi-depressed, divorced, miserable, broke. Like your life's shit anyway. There's no way to escape this fight. You're either buying their crap and fighting against your mind, or you're fighting against their crap. There's no other way to do it.
But what is an achievable amount the normal guy in the street should be looking to achieve, do you think?
I truthfully believe that the universe is a very giving place. And I don't want to sound, airy-fairy, but I truthfully believe that the universe is a giving place, and that if you actually really want something, you can have it. How much you want is how much you're prepared to sacrifice. So if you want $500,000 a year, you can definitely make that. And that level of stress you'll absorb for that money and the amount of headache you'll go through, if that's the amount you're prepared to accept for a happy life, you'll have it.
Do you think anyone can do that though?
I think that you have to pre-decide, right? So even my level of wealth comes with enormous stress. Governments are after me. Like most people are not mentally prepared for the bullshit I go through. So the number one factor that's going to decide how successful you are as a person is your ability to absorb stress, your stress level. The better you are at dealing with stress, the more problems you can fix, the more money you're going to make. So you have to decide where on that scale, because you could just be homeless and have no stress. You could just,
exactly.
You could be a brokey and be on the dole and just, I'm broke, but nothing really troubles me. So you have to decide on that level where you want, how much stress you can possibly absorb as a man. And then if you truly want that level, you're going to get it. I believe any man can make anything they want, depending. Any one of you here, I'd have no idea how much money you're making, but if you were to say, you know what, I'm throwing away my relationship, I'm throwing away my social life, and I'm going ham, I'm going nuts, and I don't care what they do to me, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make it. You'd make a bunch of money, but there's a bunch of garbage that comes with it. So you have to decide, right? So I think it's a conscious decision. Anybody can be as rich as they want to be. That's the true thing about it. I found my kickboxing coach to a degree by accident. But I've always been a person who's been looking for absolute competence in the people around me. It's just mind-bending to me that people are walking through this world without understanding a very simple life hack. If I wake up and I want to learn how to bake cupcakes, my instant reaction is, who can bake cupcakes? Let me go talk to the person who can bake cupcakes.
It's easy, really, isn't it? It's easy.
It can be pretty simple.
It's a shortcut, isn't it?
It's a shortcut. So I want to make money. Well, who makes a bunch of money and who's telling people how to make money? Well, let me go listen to them. Let me get closer to them. But people just have this arrogance inside them. They don't want to. And I think a lot of the problem with people, especially in the world today, is they misunderstand the difference between a dream and a plan. And nothing good in your life is ever going to happen by accident. If you see a guy in fantastic shape, you don't say, how'd you get in great shape? And he goes,
it just happened.
Oops, I just fell. No, he ate a specific way. He trained a specific time. He did specific things for a specific outcome. And it's the same with finances. And most people who are broke, if you say, do you want to be rich? Yeah, I want to be rich. How are you going to get rich? One day,
I'll win the lottery.
Yeah, dumb shit. You have no plan. You have no plan whatsoever. No actionable steps. No, you're not doing things daily. You're just hoping some point in the future, God's going to just dump it on your doorstep. Guess what? It ain't going to fucking happen. And unless you have a plan, a specific plan, I'm sure you guys had you had a plan and you worked hard to get to your points. I had a plan. Everything was like, okay, today we have to do day after day after day until you get there. And this is what most people don't have because they're too arrogant or too lazy. I don't think it's stupid. I think most people, if you laid out a plan and they tried their very best and they were willing to learn, could do it. I don't think people are too stupid to make money. They're just too lazy or too arrogant to make money. That's the problem with people.
I sometimes think how much work I put into my life. I mean, literally every day, as you said, nearly every minute is to make your life happen the way you want it to happen. Yeah. And I look at others and I think, how do you actually survive out of it? You're putting no effort into your life. How do you actually survive?
It's true. And it's incredible because if you don't, I wake up every day and I think, how do I make my life better? Nobody else wakes up each day and goes, how do I make Andrew Tate's life better? So if you're not the person who's waking up every day going, how do I improve my existence? Then nobody is. Nobody on the planet is considering improving your one spin on Earth.
No one else cares.
Nobody else cares. So if you don't care, then you're fucked. So you need to wake up and care. And it's amazing to me. Like you're saying, how did I find my mentors? I just tried a bunch of them. Like when I had no money, I would try very hard I'd listen to lots of different people or I'd try different things. And I wasn't scared to invest in myself because I understand that, look, if he's taking time out of his life, then I need to reward him for it financially. And I tried very hard and I listened and I paid attention and I was never lazy. I don't believe there's a person on the planet who pays attention, tries their best, is never lazy, is on time, works hard, has a mentor, and is giving it his all, who isn't rich. I don't believe it. I think that if you do all those things, you're rich. And if you don't have any money, you're missing one of those key elements. Now you can fool yourself and you can fool everyone else and you can pretend you're doing them. But if you're truly honest with yourself, am I finding people who are trying to teach me what I want to know? And am I trying my best? And the answer is fucking no every time.
Do you think there ever come a time or an age where you feel you have to slow down?
That's a good question as well.
Thank you very much.
No, it is. But it is because it's actually been recently people have said.
Maybe I've got to that age where I've got to slow down a little bit.
We're speeding up.
Yeah. Well, I've had family members say to me, Andrew, why now? Why are you doing it? But it becomes a lifestyle. Like
I would say you're young enough to keep this pace up at the moment.
For sure. And I will. And there's going to be a point when I'm definitely going to slow down. But it's almost second nature to me. It's not a conscious thing. If I'm awake, I don't see why I wouldn't be doing something constructive. I'm a conscious now. I've woken up. I'm either in the gym or I'm working. What else am I going to do besides turn my brain off in front of Netflix? It's just all clown world to me. If I'm awake, it's work or training. And that's how I've always lived. And that's just how I'm going to live as long as I can. If I get to a point where I feel need to slow down, then I'll slow down.
So you talked about dreams and plans and how they're different. How does someone, I feel like there's a mental barrier in between actually taking action and finding the mentors and stuff. How do you break that barrier? Is that through watching like your content online?
Well, it's interesting about watching content because watching content can be a double-edged sword. You can learn a bunch of things, and everyone at home here, I like to feel like they're getting value and they're learning things. But there's also the other edge of people who feel like if they just watch a bunch of shit and do nothing, that they're taking action. They feel better about themselves, but they're not actually taking action. Yep. So you have to balance the two carefully. Ultimately, it's going to be action that shapes your world. Ultimately, you're going to have to do something. So if you're watching something, you should be very conscious of what it is. I mean, I've created my reality, absolutely. I've cut out all bullshit in my life. Like, I don't have TikTok installed on my phone, band. So I don't have anything installed on my phone. I don't absorb any bullshit fucking random entertainment. I don't watch any podcasts of anyone else. Like nothing. I don't need to.
Obviously, you watch the Strike It Big podcast.
Of course. Sorry, I watch Strike It Big podcast. But I get a daily report at the end of each day and spend 4 minutes analyzing. I get what I need in 4 minutes to read the piece of paper. Boom, done. So I've tried to be very, very efficient with it. But yeah, you have to be careful if you just watch too much content. Like you guys have a website, right? And you teach things. I have a website, I teach things, whatever. If you watch this podcast and you've genuinely learned things from it, then you should be on one of the 2 websites by the time the end of the conversation ends. If you're going to watch the podcast and go, yeah, they're all pretty smart. Anyway, then you've wasted your time.
I get it in the comments where people have got what you've said. They've got it. And they reply to you, I've got it. My reply is, well, action it.
Yeah.
Because nothing's going to happen. It's no good you just getting it.
Yep.
You've got to action it. You've got to look long term at it and keep going.
Completely. It's action that shapes the world. So if you're going to watch something, it needs to either tell you what to do or inspire you to take action. If you're not going to take action, you're going to fail. That's the reality of it.
Do you read books? Because Kai is. I always read books. I love books, but Kai doesn't like reading at all.
I think I would say that YouTube changed my life.
Yeah.
Watching content.
Yeah, I
took action, obviously.
I feel like you only get the surface level through YouTube, though.
So I got roasted on Twitter for this. So they attempted to roast me, but they can't because I'm me. But I said that I don't read books, and I'm very anti-reading.